Welcome to the Date Night Podcast, Season 2, Episode 4, AFTERSHOW. I am your solo host of the day, Decky West Coast, Decky Matchmaker, also just known as typical Declan Brown. I am doing a nice little intro here for you before we take Collins from King Dobbs from last night. Absolute killer performance from that fella. Loved his enthusiasm that he carried throughout the night. And then we will be talking with our boy Tre, who personally stole the show for me, watching from home here in Arizona and watching that guy and also being a part of the casting process with him. He was an absolute just golden nugget and golden light of the entire show. I loved everything that he did. He came on, if some of you haven't heard, he has a stutter, and originally, mentioned that to us in the casting process, and was like, although I have this, I still want to come up, and I know this would be good for my training, good for my just understand, like trying to put myself out there more and help kind of, live with what I got here. Tre's got a hell of a story. He displayed it and talked about it on the episode, on the date, and it was awesome. Now, how did everything else go around the date? I guess that is a lot of what we talk about here on the after show. And I would say last night was one of the more difficult shows to put together for reasons outside of anything to do with any of the contestants or King Dobbs. We had a contestant for the first time ever back out of the show less than 2 hours before we went live. And as you guys all know, the show must go on. And we had to pivot. We decided to basically stick with Tre and Jacob and bump their time up to 15 minutes instead of 10, which I think was kind of awesome. And we had to move forward. It was kind of disappointing to realize that, 2 hours before the show started, but we figured it out, man. We figured it out and we grand slammed once more. And really the big takeaway, I guess, for me as one of the founders of this show and where our vision is like we love being an outlet and and hosting a unique space that basically no one else has ever put together in the history of our existence. And I like harnessing the energy of people who are willing to be a part of the show, willing to show up, whatever. And it's all simply to find love on a podcast. There's love in the air when you show up into First Draft on Wednesday nights. And I love being one of the people who have, helped put this vision together. Now, whether that makes sense to do like only straight episodes going forward, only gay episodes, doing a mix mass of a bunch, that's something that we're still trying to figure out. I think we've built a solid base of people. We just hit over 1,000 followers on Instagram. TikTok, we are one social clip away from exploding. And Twitch, hell, we're almost at 100 followers, 100 subscribers, and we're almost affiliate streamers. So, sup, Twitch. There's all kinds of stuff that goes through my head, though, every single week, and Andrew's head, I should say, and the team's head. Christ, everybody's head's in this game. But there's a lot that goes through our heads when we put together these episodes. This is our second ever gay episode. Our attendance was decent. It wasn't the 100+ that showed up for Dan Booty's episode last week, but it was certainly well attended. And you look at the content that was put together everything that went down yesterday with there only being 2 contestants and how the dates actually went, a little slower and a little deeper than most episodes. But as visionaries and as like the people on the front lines trying to like put this show together every single week, you have to extract the positives and like reflect that back, or just extract the positives and what happened and reflect that back to what the vision is. Find love on a podcast. the fact that we were able to have a guy like Tre go up there and do what he did with his, with his stutter was one of the more inspiring things that I've ever seen outside of anything that we've ever done, Backpocket included. And the fact that we were able to be the hosts of that space for him means the world to me. When you look at maybe a couple guys in the mix of this entire episode who wouldn't have had this opportunity unless we had put this together and booked contestants for Dobbs, put this all together, none of this would have ever happened. I think we as a team could definitely do better with the promotional aspect and the preparation aspect. I can tell you from a back-end standpoint, casting this season has been absolute hell. Not because people aren't willing to be on the show, but just because of how much more quality that we want to put into the show. Calling every single contestant before they come on, trying to make true matches happen before they are put on the show, as opposed to last year. It was kind of just like, hey, you want to be on? Good. Well, then see you next week, So there's been a few extra things we've added into the quality of this show, and I think that's fine. But man, has it it's been a domino effect all the way down. Like the casting, if that takes long, then you can't promote it as well. And then after that, you can't put the social clips together as well after that because you're worried about casting the next episode. It's a huge operation. We're figuring it out. And I love that we're figuring it out. And I know that we're building a solid foundation with every single one of you involved in this. And I can't wait to see where this goes. I'm assuming Dobbs here is going to call in. I hope to God he remembered. And I know he did because I texted him. Texted sweet, sweet Dobbs. He said he was getting ready for a drag show tonight. So I think he's literally putting on makeup for one of his drag shows, which I think that's going to make history on the show regardless. But we're excited to talk, man. I'm excited to dive in and see what's in Dobbs' head after those 2 dates and if he's got any plans for Jacob. One of the things that I noticed, and part of the adjustment we made last night with only having 2 contestants, and the reason why we have 3 is you never want to see someone have to make a decision between 2 people. You make the decision for one person. The other person's obviously left up there on stage alone. A little bit of agony involved there. You never want to see that. That's tough. And that's what happened last night. But just hearing the feedback from everybody on the front lines there at First Draft, the positivity was booming. And I love to hear that. There's nothing better than having that kind of reaction, that kind of positive atmosphere when you're putting people in uncomfortable situations, or maybe not uncomfortable, but unique situations that they've maybe never been in before. So shout out to the team. They absolutely crushed it. Mark Dowdle stepping in the role of T-Flow, being the main host. Maya stepping in as the switchboard operator and then doing the crowd interviews after. She had a hysterical interview with one of the ladies who, she just asked offhand, hey, are you single? And she had a very big problem with Maya asking that question. And it was the funniest shit ever, and I can't wait to put that into a TikTok clip as soon as tonight when I'm done with this podcast. And then obviously, our key players, as always, I should also give a shout out to Shona. She did a great job last night on the social clips and tagging people taking shots of Pink Whitney as that was added to the tap list at First Draft yesterday. And, of course, our boy Will DeGraw taking fantastic film photos, and I can't wait to see what he has for us this week. It looks like I never sent Dobbs the Zoom link. That's always good. I'm going to go ahead and take care of that now. Can't just not send the guy the Zoom link. Doodly-dee. Boop-bop-bop. There you go, Dobbs. Ready when you are. Yeah, but I think all in all, there's a lot to these shows, and it's fun to just like throw the dart at the dartboard every week, see where you landed perfectly, see where you didn't land perfectly, and you figure it out as you go, and I love that. I love that. Anyways, Dobbs, here he is. Let's welcome Dobbs to the show. Looking elite, dude. Getting ready for a drag show tonight or what?
Yeah, I have a show at 10 p.m., but call is at like fucking 8:30. I don't know why it's so early.
Where's it at?
Yeah. It's at the Gay 90s
Okay,
tonight.
Cool. Dude, that is so freaking awesome. Well, you're looking fantastic, and I don't want to take too much of your time.
Thank you.
But would love to just hear your thoughts on your experience last night. I'd love to just hear start to finish what you thought, how the dates went, overall takeaway. If there's a second date in the looming atmosphere with Jacob, I would love to know, man.
Yeah, so I thought last night was just kind of awesome. The entire atmosphere was so supportive, and the contestants, like my two choices, were both phenomenal dates. I feel like I had kind of like a unique, different connection with each of them. Tre and Jacob were both just like really phenomenal and super nice people. Overall, I just had fun. It was just like a good old time. It was easy to like just chit chat with them and to go on the date. I didn't feel like there was any pressure from the audience, which was really nice. And I didn't feel like I had to perform at all, which I feel like sometimes I do put on a little bit of a performance, just because it's what I do. But I thought it was awesome. And there is a second date brewing with Jacob right now, which is exciting. We're just trying to see if our schedules can work out a second date. So we're just waiting, man. Right now.
Yeah, no, I think the conversations, more so than any other episodes that I've seen, went super naturally. I think Mark Dowdle, as the host, did a pretty good job of just like letting the dates happen. And, so you had some lulls, or you had some times where like, like there were times where like Tre was, really getting into something specific, or you guys were really talking. But what I loved was just like it really felt like a natural date. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, totally. It was weird, like once it all started and like things really got rolling, it didn't feel like you were sitting in front of an audience of a ton of people. It just felt like, oh, I'm on a date with another person, just like having a good like a good talk.
Right.
It was
and
really
that's
nice.
What we try and do, man. Like we try and create that intimate atmosphere, which you can attest to, obviously, with what you've been saying. And it's awesome, man. If there's a moment that you had to pick that was like your favorite of each of the dates, do you have like a moment in mind that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I really loved getting to know more about like Tre's story. Like what an incredible person, and to have gone through as much as he has, and the fact that he was so vulnerable like on a first date was huge. And the same with Jacob, like the vulnerability, talking about his family and talking about kids kind of off the bat, which like is a huge topic to go on a first date. But like the fact that they're both able to be so vulnerable, I thought that was like really cool.
And I thought it was interesting too how like he when you asked him to go on a second date at the end, he's like, just to let you know, like, I'm sorry we got all deep about like adoption and surrogacy, like all this good stuff. I was like, that is so funny, like that the dates went that direction, because I've personally never seen the dates go that deep as deep as they did right away. And I would say like for most first dates, like you're usually trying to stay away from like the deep stuff. So like, did that kind of throw you off right away? Or like, I mean, you obviously tripled down on it, which I loved, but like, was that something that kind of threw you through a loop a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't fully expecting to get to that type of conversation within 15 minutes, but I mean, I'm always somebody who's fair game for whatever topic comes up. So I'm like, okay, let's do some heavy hitters, and let's get to some real talk, not just kind of fluff.
So getting to some real talk, I would love to know how long it takes you to put on your drag makeup.
Drag makeup for me takes 45
Nice.
minutes.
And what minute are you at right now? I know I'm delaying you, but like what minute are you currently at right now?
So I'm currently at minute. Actually, it took me a little less time tonight. I took about 30 minutes, and all that I have left is to do my lips. So it was like a pretty quick
Nice.
face
And
tonight.
I'm assuming you do it all yourself.
Yeah, everything's
Nice.
done
Well,
by
that's
me.
freaking cool, man. I also loved like the conversation that you guys got into about drag, and like the talks about your dad, and like how he just like got super
Yeah.
like stoked on you doing drag and all that stuff right away. Did like what was like that first conversation, I guess, with like when like your family basically were like, oh, this kid's doing drag now all of a sudden. I'd love to how did that all kind of come to fruition?
Yeah, so I had made an Instagram account of some of my drag, and my sister had found it, and she was in the car with my mom, and she was like liking my photos and all of that. And then my mom had like looked over at my sister's phone, and she was like, "Oh, that face looks familiar." And then my mom texted me. She was like, "You're gonna be a beautiful
That's
drag
awesome.
queen." I was like, "Oh, cool."
Okay,
Awesome.
and then another part in the episode last night, which I didn't expect this to be dove into much further than what you had said, but you said you came out when you were 3 years old. Do you like have a recollection of like how that happened? Like I don't know if I have very memories of when I was even 3. So like I was wondering if you had like a recollection of like you in your head when you were 3 years old, like you knew right away.
Well, it was Christmas time, and for Christmas I asked for a purple Batman purse with red feathers. And that was kind of like an indicator that was like, yeah, he pretty gay. And then it was just kind of like assumed from there. I never really had much of a coming
Wow.
out. Like I was out from that point on, but it wasn't really like, I don't know, I wouldn't really say stuff about it unless I was asked. So I wouldn't like walk into a room and be like, "Hey everyone, I'm
Right.
gay." But if people would ask me, I'd be like, "Yeah, so what?" I would never be like weird kind of closet
Right.
ish. Which is like, I am very fortunate that I am a gigantic person and I don't feel much fear or
Right.
intimidation from people. Um, and so I was able to always like be myself and not have kind of any
Totally.
kickback from
So it
others.
all started with the Batman purse, basically. That was
Yep.
the key indicator. And like that was you,
Yes.
like you like I want this, and then your parents were like, okay, like he might be gay, or did you like also make that connection, or was it just like your parents, or how did that all kind of go down?
I think it was a little bit of both. Like my parents were like, "Oh, okay, he's a little fruity," and in my head, that was that was the way that I could like
Right.
express it, if that makes sense. Because you don't know what like sexuality and gender. You really don't know what all that is
Right.
at
Right.
3. Like, but you know, oh, okay, this kid's a little different, and I knew inside. I'm like, okay, I'm a little different. I don't really like all the boy girl kissy stuff in Disney
Right.
movies and
Okay.
all of
Well, that's
that.
so cool, man. I was just fascinated about that when you brought it up on the show. I had to ask. Um, so cool,
Yeah.
man. I would like, I guess, just to close out this conversation here, because I know you're busy. Um, who do you have anyone in particular that you would want to nominate for the show?
I'd love to nominate one of my friends who came with me last night. Her name is Hope. Uh, so Hope Jane.
I think she was a
She
crowd interview.
oh I
She was with John, a guy with purple
what
hair
crowd
and a mullet, I believe. Okay.
Yep. Yes, she was gone. I think Hope would be a phenomenal queen
Okay.
on the show. So I'm gonna have to
Dude, I
nominate
love
her.
that, man. Okay, and then final question. Any feedback or improvements or twists maybe that you'd like thrown into the Date Night podcast? As we are a very young show and always malleable and changing from week to week, so we'll love any sort of feedback you had for us.
Yeah, part of me almost wants like a drinking game. Like in some capacity, I'm like, you're at first draft. There's got to be like can you do like a shot before the date, or is there something
Maybe
like
a never have I ever
a
type thing.
keeper? Yeah, something like that. Just like kind of a little
Yes.
icebreaker almost. I know that's hard with
Yes.
10-minute dates.
But we could expand on
Yeah.
that. I actually really fuck with that shit. So good call on that, Dobbs. We're at a brewery. God damn it. They also just got Pink Whitney and Jack Daniels on tap or something like that. So we need to take advantage, man. Cool. Well, right on,
Absolutely.
Dobbs. You are the man. I really appreciate your time with us here today and everything you did yesterday. And let me know how that second date goes, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely
Take care,
will
brother.
do.
Have fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to you later. Bye.
All right, and we are jumping right into Tre. Wait a second, he just joined, but then unjoined. Gosh, that's I was just very curious about Dobbs' coming out story. I thought I texted him. I thought I was curious, and I had no idea, and then that's a wild story. It all started with a fruity Batman Christmas gift. That's amazing. You gotta love that. Right from the start. Right from the start. Cool. We have Tre joining us right now. Let's go. What's going on, Tre?
Hey, not much. Let me grab my
Dude,
AirPods.
nice. Love that, man. Well, first and foremost, just want to congratulate you on coming on the show last night, man. You absolutely crushed it.
Yeah, thank you. No, like I was insanely like anxious. However, like as soon as I like got on, it was just like nothing was going on. Just like everything was like shut out, and it was just like me
it was
and him.
perfect, man. Like once you get into that, once you get in,
yeah.
put those headphones on, you're in a totally different world. But man, I mean, like,
Yeah.
I was with you from the casting process, you know, with our casting call and everything, and obviously your hesitation to come on the show, and then you committed to the show, which was fantastic. But take me through like those emotions. Take me through a little bit of the hesitations, and like, what was the final moment that you told yourself, like, I am going on this show, and like, how did you overcome some of those fears that you had internally?
Yeah, well, yeah, so I am not gonna lie, you guys reached out to me on Instagram, and my immediate thought was like, oh shit, one of these like DM for like collab kind of things. But I was like at the bar, I was just like, you know what, sure, like let's like see where this goes. Like and once I like actually looked at your page and saw that it was like an actual like legit like local podcast thing, I was like, oh shit, like is this actually something that I'm comfortable doing? This is like this coming week. I went back and forth just so many times. And again, super sorry. Thank you so much for encouraging me. If there's anything that was made pretty clear like last night, it's that I am always down to go out of my comfort zone, and like when opportunities come, like, to do that, I like try to take them. And I'm really glad
Yeah,
I
dude.
did.
I mean, that's the best. Like, it's so impressive to me how like you see, like when you see these opportunities that you do take full advantage of them, and like it's the worthy thing to do, although it's like fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
Especially when you have
Yeah.
and like I so appreciate like that committal to doing something, because it's so fucking hard to do anything like that. I mean,
Yeah.
like if you put it in the comparison of like jumping off like a 50-foot cliff and this like in some deep water and you're afraid of heights, like how are you supposed to put the will to be able to do something like that? You know, like people have. I'm just contextualizing a different type of fear in terms of what you were doing. Like there's tons of people who would never even think to sign up for the Date Night podcast, let alone go on it. And I just got to cherish you, like just give you props, man, for everything you did.
I mean, like, yeah, but like, to me, like, saying no is like letting that win, and I'm pretty stubborn. So that like definitely helps.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, I like the stubbornness, because it, obviously plays to your advantage.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, cool, man. Well, walk me through kind of like.
It kind of.
So walk me through putting the headphones on, talking in the mic at first. Like when I saw you go, I was like, "Oh fuck!" Like he's so nervous right now. Like, and then you kind of got that like first question out. Once you got the first question, it like started to roll from there, and it was fine. But like that first question, man, like walk me through the feeling of like that moment.
Yeah. All right. So I had my ice breaker was not going to be anything
Whitney
about
Houston. Oh, Amy Winehouse. Sorry. Yeah.
It was like, yeah. So like, my name's Tre, but like you can call me Beef Daddy. Right. Something like that. And I just like froze, and I was just like, if you could be any Amy Winehouse song, like the first thing that came to my mind.
So you had no plans to go with Amy Winehouse, yet you were
like,
just like, this is...
None. It was like, I was listening to her on the light rail on the way there.
Funny. So funny, dude. Oh my god, that's amazing.
So like genuinely like an authentic like moment.
That makes that moment so much better. I love that. Yeah, and then like of course Dobbs like knows everything about Amy Winehouse too, so it was like kind of the perfect like indicator. And like he kind of took it and ran with it, and like I said, like after that it was a very like natural conversation and a date basically from there on out. So
yeah.
Shout out to Amy Winehouse, dude. That's awesome.
I mean, the fucking legends.
Totally, dude.
No, like, the only wrong answer he could have said was, I told you I was trouble.
Right, exactly. No kidding. So another thing you talked about, first and foremost, the podcast got deep. Mark Dowdle, and just like it helped get it there, but also just stuff you guys talked about was like super super vulnerable and authentic, and I really really liked it, and I don't think we've seen that on the podcast on the show in a long time. So walk me through a little bit about what you had talked about. I'd like to expand on it a little bit more of just like, I think you mentioned like up like you were homeless for a certain point in time, and like that was part of your journey. I would love to hear more about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you've dealt with all of that and you've like made it through that, like you kind of just want to use that for clout.
Totally. It's part of who you are. Like, it gives you
like,
it gives you a winning edge.
Yeah, no. like, not to like toot my own horn, but like that is some badass
Totally.
shit. And like of course I'm like going to like say it. Yeah, no. I mean, it's really defined me. Just like as a person, as an adult, and it helps to illuminate just like my own like personality. Yeah, it's I mean, it like really does like define
Yeah.
me.
So,
yeah.
no, I totally hear you on that, man, and I appreciate you bringing it up, and like it's a good contextual piece to know,
Yeah.
like when people ask who is Tre, right? So I guess like more into
Yeah.
that though, just I'd love to know kind of the context of the story, like and your journey to Minneapolis, and like how the ups and downs of that come up story. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that story?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Be forewarned, it will get a
That's
little
okay.
bit deeper. Okay. Yeah, so I was adopted at like a super young age, like a year and a half old. It was like a transracial adoption. So like pretty much like I'm mixed, raised by like white people. So like that's always like in internal conflicts going on. Um and not like the best growing up situation. On my 18th birthday, I was actually kicked out of my adopted mom's house. And so, you know, I was like couch surfing here and there, technically homeless, but I was making the best of it. Back in 2014, I actually spent like a week like camping out on like the ocean beach. Not legal, but definitely like made the best of it. Went to culinary school in July or in like August 2014. In 2016, I flew here to meet my birth mom. I was like 22 then. And it went super well. And like I said, like 2016 election, like I had a full blown like quarter life crisis. I was just like, you know what? Like I am getting on a plane and I am moving there and we will see what happens. And it's going well. The twin cities is the first place I've like lived where I have no like yearning to move
That's
anywhere
awesome, man.
else.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So with your birth mom,
Yeah.
did you know, like, did you find out who your birth mom was when you were 22, or is this something that you knew in the past?
Yeah, so she reached out to me on Facebook pretty much like as soon as I turned 16. And so like we were like Facebook friends, but like we never really met. We would like talk, but it wasn't until I was like 22 that we had actually like met and it was just like, holy crap, like you are so fucking sassy and like sarcastic, and I'm seeing so much of myself in you.
That's awesome.
Like, and it's just like I need to be around people like you. Like,
That's awesome.
And it worked out. Yeah. We do Yule every year. Yeah.
Dude, that's so cool, man. Well, I'm glad like you got reunited with your birth mom. Like I think that's a powerful thing. Obviously, you found someone who's just as sarcastic
same.
as you are. So I mean, you can't you can't give that up. That's cool, man.
Yeah, no. Surprisingly a genetic thing.
Yeah, surprisingly gets passed down. Dude, I think that is so cool, man. Well, I just think that's just a good contextual piece just for people to understand like who you are and like where you came from and like how your come up is a little bit different than others, and like although it's different, it makes you who you are. It makes you stronger than what you than you would say most people, just because it's like something that is a pillar of who you are. And I appreciate you sharing that, and I think like that is something that you can rely on just to continue to move forward and be the best version of yourself, man. So keep it up, dude. You're freaking
of course. Thank you.
Well, cool, man. Going more into the date now too. So I just want to say I am sorry for the situation that we put you in. We had a contestant back out legitimately an hour and a half before the show, and we were just like, we have to only go forward with these two. Like the show's going to go on. We're not going to just turn everyone around. And so I felt personally
was like that way. It was like
correct.
Longer.
So we went from 3 contestants 10 minutes to 2 contestants 15 minutes each, which I think enhanced the conversation like tenfold, which was awesome.
I'm not gonna lie, I actually really enjoyed that. Like I didn't realize anything wrong had like
that's good. And like the only part that I liked was like, damn, it sucks, was like when Jacob got picked and you were just kind of up there all alone. And, like, you handled it like a champ. It was fine, and it sounded like the atmosphere was positive after. But I was just like, damn, I hate to put someone in that situation where, like, they're the only ones left on the podium after not getting picked when typically there's at least another person up there. So I just wanted to say sorry for that. But at the same time, you handled it like a champ. I think your date went great.
Yeah, thanks.
No hard feelings, I guess.
Like, they were really cute together. They had some like great chemistry. I was just happy to be on it. Like I had a great time. If I weren't, I would just be at home drinking wine, watching Netflix on my so like not a huge deal.
It's awesome. So with that being said, and I'll leave you with this final question. Do you have anyone that you'd recommend for the show?
Not that comes to mind.
You can think of it. It doesn't need to be a direct answer now.
I like have like someone in mind who like is kind of in a situationship, who I think would be better off on it, but
hey, maybe this anonymous nomination
right now.
Be the correct way. So, okay, well, cool. We'll circle back to that. You don't need to put them on the spot right now, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Another final question for you. Now having been on the show, do you have any feedback or additions that you'd like on the show to make the show better?
I mean, you guys like do a surprisingly good job at like making everyone feel like really welcome and like I don't really have any tips. I would just say like keep on like viewing it. It's a great show. It's a great idea. I like had a
Good.
lot of fun.
Well, that's great, man.
Yeah.
It's good to know that we're welcoming and that we're and the idea is flourishing, because I honestly came up with this idea with my mom like in late 2019, and
Oh, cool.
we built the show out in 2020, shortly thereafter. So,
Oh wow. So like
basically,
right when everything, yeah. Not gonna say it.
The pandemic Lovato, as we'll call it.
Pandemic, yeah.
But yeah, man, that's pretty much. Well, we didn't roll it out in 2020. We rolled it out in 2021 last year, and it was a smashing success. And like we're constantly tinkering and figuring out like the best way to do this show, and so that's why we always ask that question. But regardless, man, I appreciate you being a part of it, and I hope to see you in the coming Wednesdays, man. Bring some friends to some of these upcoming shows. We have 6 more this season, and
of course. No, like, yeah, I haven't like heard of it prior to you guys reaching out. I know of it now, so I will definitely be out.
Cool, man.
Again.
Well, sweet, Trey. Really appreciate you hanging out with me here on the after show, and we'll be in touch,
of course.
Man. Cool.
Have a great... You have
Hey, you too,
have
brother.
a good one.
Take care. See ya.
All right, bye.
What a stud. I fucking love that guy. Fucking love him. Trey rocks. One of the best highlights of this show. I'll always come back to it. Oh, what a story. What an episode. And there's more. Next week, episode 5. Queen Abby. She is going to turn some heads. I'll say that. She is a spark plug. She is looking for a man with the true golden retriever energy. We got a lot of good stuff in store for this next Wednesday, and we hope to see you there. Let's pack the fucking house. Let's get 100+ there. Let's get all of our headphones on looking like androids in there, and let's find love on a podcast, quite simply. Episode 5 is officially our halfway mark on the season. Can't believe we're already here. Lots of work to be done. Lots of more posts to go viral. Lots of more community to build. Lots of more love to have. And I'm excited to be on this journey of season 2. Thank you for everyone joining on the Twitch stream today. Thank you to everyone who made it this far on the YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you may be listening. I am Declan Brown, Decky Matchmaker. This is the Date Night Podcast. Let's go find some love next week, Wednesday, 3/23, March 23rd at 7 p.m. at First Draft. See you there. Take care.